Future Cop LAPD is exactly the type of game I needed when I played it, and I would argue that it's one of those titles that I think most people could get something out of. It's just all kinds of fun. Guns, explosions, and even some nice bits of humor. This is one of those retro titles that holds up very well. Sure, it has some roughness to it, with it using an older tank-style control, but this is more of getting used to it kind of a thing, rather than being something that is inherently bad. It has a common control scheme for the time, and after level 1, you'll be just fine with it. What I never really understood is why EA never took this game and did more with it. There's a lot of potential here, and as for a new IP for the time, it had a great start. At the same time, I think it would be a perfect opportunity for it to come back. EA is sitting on many quality IPs that they have done nothing with, and today I want to explore Future Cop and why it should be brought back. Future Cop was a title that sadly passed me by. I hadn't played it until last year, and it's one of those that I'm kicking myself for not playing sooner, especially when it came out. The game is packed with 2 really awesome modes, along with co-op and versus options. When I was a kid, I was always looking for some good local co-op titles, and this checks a lot of those boxes that I was looking for. At the same time too, this title was on my radar because I wanted to try it at least at some point. I have a soft spot for the developer as they have made some of my favorites. Future Cop is actually the first game made by Visceral Games, but at this time they went by Redwood Shores. Now sure, many of you probably know them for their work as Visceral, with the excellent Dead Space games and the underrated Dante's Inferno, but their work with licensed properties ranks as some of my favorite games that they've ever done. They had their hands in The Godfather, many of the Lord of the Rings games, and 3 of my favorite Bond titles, with Agent Under Fire, Everything or Nothing, and From Russia with Love. So when I finally started playing Future Cop, it was cool to see where this studio started. Was their first game a bit rough, but still fun? Was it bad, or did they hit the ground running? As a first game for a new studio, Future Cop was and is still great. In Future Cop, the player takes control of a walking mech, so in the not too distant future, LA has turned into a crime-ridden place, and the law enforcement are completely outnumbered. You are part of a special unit used to reduce the crime. It has a little bit of RoboCop and Dredd influences, and I like that. You get a bunch of fun toys to play around with, from various missiles, flamethrowers, machine guns, and other weapons. Again, this title is very easy to pick up and get right into the action. You will fight everything from numerous henchmen, vehicles, flying opponents, and plenty of turrets. Your goal, shoot everything that moves, and get to the end of the stage. Pickup stations will help you along the way with improved weapons, more health, and ammo. It is important to note too that this game was made during a time where checkpoints were not always provided, and here if you die in a level, then you need to restart it all over again. Thankfully the stages are rather quick, but dying right at the end can take some of the wind out of your sails, as you need to go all the way back to properly retry that spot. This is an area where a remaster or even a release on Sony's backwards PS1 plan could help. PS1 games on the PS4 and 5 allow you to save wherever you want, along with rewinding where you are. It's a great way to provide the game as is to the players, while also providing those modern options. The game is challenging, so you wouldn't want to be flooded with checkpoints to keep that challenge, but maybe 1 or 2 would have been a nice inclusion. It is important to mention too that while your mech is pretty cool on its own, it can change into a hover car. This can be done at any time, allowing for more options while in combat. The hover car moves a lot faster. For a large portion of many of the levels, you can choose which preferred mode you would have, along with fun situations that require a specific form to clear. For example, the hover car provides you with speed, and you'll need this to bypass some of the traps, unlock areas, and even make some jumps off of some ramps. Unlike the hover car, the mech can jump though, so both come in handy. I really like some of the nice little touches that the game has, especially with the camera. So there are these moments where you face off against a bunch of henchmen all at once. The camera will zoom in for what is called a crowd control moment. This shifts the action to being really close up with your mech, taking up a bunch of the screen and all the henchmen running around. I love this neat effect. It provides a dynamic element to the camera, and even provides this cinematic quality to it too. The camera overall is pretty good because while the player does not control it, the game will find the best angle for you depending on the situation. For example, if you're going down somewhere narrow, then it will pull it back more so that you can get a better view of the action. It isn't perfect, and while the camera is trying to give you the best angle, it can result in situations where the camera moves around a bit too much to find those perfect angles based on where you are. So Future Cop comes with 2 modes. Crime War is the main campaign. This is more of a traditional mode where you tackle various crime leaders all over LA. It is short and sweet, with new weapons being introduced regularly, so you always have something new to play with. Or maybe you just want to stay with some old favorites. This mode can be played in 2-player, and it's a lot of fun there as well. Precinct Assault is the other big mode, and this is more of a deathmatch style with a mixture of real-time strategy. This is where some will cite Future Cop being the first MOBA. You and your enemy will have their bases. You need to get your tanks into the enemy's base to win. You earn points that you can use to buy outposts and allied vehicles, along with capturing turrets. This mode is endlessly entertaining. And like I said before, Future Cop has some pretty good humor and personality. One of my favorite cutscenes is the tutorial for Precinct Assault. More tutorials should be like this one.
This is Precinct Assault. You begin inside your base. You know where the action button is, right? You'll need it. Each base has a hover tank generator. Action button. Hover tanks will seek out the enemy base. When one of your hover tanks enters the enemy base, you win. Sounds simple? I don't think so! You can generate jet choppers to protect your base from the air. These base turrets are your last line of defense. Any neutral turrets are up for grabs. Use the action button to claim them. This is an outpost. Claim it, and you've got another base. But outposts cost points. Earn points by claiming turrets and destroying enemy units. Destroy the enemy walker, earn points, and send him back to his base crying like a baby. Remember, hover tanks, turrets, points, crying. Beautiful. Now, if you're playing by yourself, you'll go up against Sky Captain, a lethal combination of smarts and firepower. This cybernetic...
Now, while Future Cop is great fun, it does have some areas that I think could benefit from the remaster treatment. Adding in some level checkpoints is one. The jumping can also feel very janky to do. The parts where you need to do this are annoying, but thankfully the platforming doesn't take up the entire game. For the most part, the game holds up really well. Future Cop actually started out as a sequel to the most recent Strike game at the time. That was another series that EA owned and then canned during the PS1 generation. Future Cop became its own thing, and while it was well received and even sold decently, EA was not interested in continuing with this property, which is a shame. When you play it, you can tell that these developers could do more with this concept. Sequels could have explored having more vehicles to transform into, maybe new and different modes, along with more customization options. To clarify, I don't want a remake or a reboot of this game. I'd love to see Future Cop come back as a remaster with a sequel, and maybe even like the Medieval remaster that gave that title a brand new coat of paint. I think the chances of EA doing something like this are very low, but there is a decent chance that Future Cop will get added to the PS4 and 5, and at least the game will be available to more people. Have you played Future Cop? Is this something you'd like to see come back? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're interested in being notified of new videos, please hit the subscribe button and bell. And if you would like to support the channel and get early access to content, please check out my Patreon. All of the links will be at the end of this video and within the description. And thank you very much for watching.